Hello, my friends. So, welcome back to the Soupier. So, I kind of wanted to do this video for quite some time to give you guys a little bit of a background on me and just where I come from and what I do. Kind of my very brief history. I don't want to get too personal or anything. I might go off on some tangents a little bit about my just being growing up. Let's see here. I grew up on a farm, and if you know anything about if you know any farmers or anything about growing up on a farm, you know that they're the most multi-talented people in the world. People that grow up on farms are amazing tradespeople. So I learned a lot about agriculture and a lot about, you know, um, skidding logs and forestry and stuff like that, as well as automotive and animal science as well. So, there was a lot of learning in there. I didn't own the farm, my grandfather did, but he was basically a huge role model in my life and an absolutely wonderful person, just like my mom and just like my stepfather. My stepfather is more of a into computers and stuff like that, and that's where I get my edge for building computers. But yeah, my biological father is alive. He's a Vietnam vet, but he lives. I don't have much contact with him. So anyway, or I do have contact with him, but I don't live with him or anything like that. So that's a completely different story. So I ended up going to a small school of about 300 kids up until ninth grade. Bullying was very hard in that school, and after my fourth time to the emergency room, I sat down with my parents and we discussed a plan to get me out of the school and send me to a vocational school where I could receive my GED along with an automotive technical certification. And that's what I did. Learned a little bit more how to work on anything with an internal combustion engine, and they did an amazing job. And that's actually the same place where I teach now. So it's great, and I do a very good job as a teacher, and I like what I do. So yeah, I'm highly respected and love my job. But it's great because I can basically write my own schedule, which is nice. I don't get paid a lot of money. I don't make a ton of money or anything like that. But one of the beautiful things about being a minimalist, about being into van life, is that you kind of really figure out what you need to buy. And there's not many things that I don't have a lot of stuff. I don't have a lot of stuff. And it is just easier with me not having a lot of things. The things that I do have, all of them are functional. So I'm a very functional buyer. And it's funny, my background, I look at, buying habits and business interactions. That's what I did for when I was in college. And I'll take you through my college career. I ended up dropping out of school, due to bullying and stuff like that. I was missing school, a lot of school, not really doing my homework, but I already knew most of this stuff that they would be going over because I was always watching documentaries, and I was kind of a science and technology nerd, to say the least. So I'd be working on my own computers and building my computers. We're talking a time when they had 56K modems, and I would dual slingshot two 56K modems and get into online multiplayer games like Diablo 2. If any of you guys have ever played that, I built a bot that would automatically run and pick up magical items, and then I'd sell those items and make a little bit of money. I also, at 13 years old, started up my own little side business on online marketplace, eBay. And I would buy and sell stuff that I couldn't find in stores. So it was pretty cool, and it was a lot of learning from that. I've been doing that ever since. I still do that now. So 25 years. About 1999 is when I had my first eBay account. I think I was like 13 years old. Excuse me. So how does van life suit me? I've always been, kind of just hands-on, do-it-yourselfer. I don't like to have a lot of stuff. Things don't impress me. I'm not very materialistic. I'm more of when I moved down south, I decorated my apartment in things that I built. The tables that we had in there, I built. The furniture and stuff, yeah, I didn't build them or anything like that, but everything had character. A lot of stuff was secondhand. And I like stuff, and I like repurposing things and do-it-yourself projects. That's just how I work. So, when I left high school, got my GED, I ended up taking a year off, and I made snow, and I worked on cars for a year. I really wasn't getting anywhere in life. I was just kind of doing my thing, making money, making a little money, and working. I remember I made snow, and that was a brutal, cold, very cold job, very labor intensive, like overnight. Um, Very cold job. I remember it being freezing and sleeping in my truck, which was, it didn't have, it had a heater on it, but it had a bench seat and everything like that. I mean, it was an original Dodge Dakota from 1989, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so that was my upbringing, and then I looked at going to different colleges for automotive technology. I did really well in that program, but I just didn't like wrenching on other people's cars. The loud noises and getting that, dirty wasn't. I don't like it that much, believe it or not. I don't mind getting dirty, but I don't like the loud noises and stuff like that. When I wrench on things, I usually just do it manually, but. So I know some things you can't. So I ended up going to college. I took my placement exams. I tested into a very good school. And I started out with a degree in liberal arts. And I took that degree. It was an associate's degree. I got that just because I really wanted to have more of a broad education, because there were a lot of classes that I missed out on in high school, and it was great. My college professors were amazing. I went from kind of a loser, nobody, to the most popular kid on campus, and it was great, and I made a lot of friends, and for the first time I really felt accepted, and it was great. It's kind of like the van life community. Everybody's so supportive. It's wonderful to be a part of that, and I'll get into why I really like that community and why it's been very therapeutic in a little bit after we talk, but a little bit further on in the talk. So then I dated a girl all throughout my entire college career, same girl. I don't have any kids, and I'm single and stuff like that, so we just decided to part ways, no big deal. Let's see, I went for my bachelor's in law and government. I worked at Tractor Supply when I was going to college, and then I worked at probably the best job I ever had. Like, hands down, man. I'm sorry, not Tractor Supply, Toys R Us. That was an amazing job. Hands down. That was awesome. I was a bicycle assemblyman. I had to put together end caps. I would disassemble end caps, assemble kids' bicycles, grab things out of the stock room in the back, like, bikes or tricycles or whatever the kids needed, like, little power wheels and stuff like that, which were, it was just awesome. It was an awesome job. I was surrounded by a really awesome team of people, so, it was great. And then I left that job, and I got a job working at a prison as a counselor for a while. I ended up leaving there, believe it or not, and moved into teaching when I graduated with my bachelor's degree, and come to find out, I really like business management. I like business, so I worked for a year teaching at the same school I've been teaching at, and I still currently teach there. And they were very flexible, which is amazing, and they still are. I don't have to make a ton of money to support myself, which is kind of nice. I read Henry David Thoreau's Walden, and that book changed my life. It really was amazing. Just simplify, and I can live my life for about $6,000 a year, with rent and everything like that. And so yeah, it is beneficial. So let's see here. I do own property, but I do live with family as well. Let's see. I got my master's degree. I took my graduate requisite exams got my master's degree. And this whole time, I actually had a shop on the side where I was working on motorcycles, building motorcycles. For a time, I was making things out of glass because I had a giant kiln. So making awesome things out of glass, doing like stained glass windows and serving trays and anything with this stuff that they call frit. You can put it in different molds and throw it into your kiln, but it was a pretty cool hobby. Now, I took my GREs. I worked really hard to take my GREs, and that's your graduate requisite exams. And I did pretty good, and I tested into a good school, and I got my master's degree. Still interested in education, but I wanted to be more of a college professor. I started up a marketing firm, and I ran that for 6 years. And then I closed it down in 2018, just before the pandemic, so whenever that was. I started I took another year off after my master's degree, and I started my doctorate because I had this really great idea. And then it turned into a patent and all this other jazz. I don't make any money off my patent or any of that jazz, but it's amazing. It's being used in the medical industry and in the business industry right now, which is pretty sweet. I'm glad I could write that. So, it was basically a software patent, a communication model that I put together. So, let's see here. I graduated with my doctorate, did a lot of traveling. Me and the girlfriend kind of went our separate ways. I found another girl that I started to date. And then the pandemic hit, and I didn't have a job. I was out of work. And I didn't want to sit on my butt and really collect a check. So I moved down south. And that was an amazing learning experience. The girl I dated was absolutely wonderful. Me and her are not together anymore. We're best friends, though. We talk almost all the time on the phone, every day. She ended up moving, and, we just basically, she moved to a place I didn't want to move, so we basically went our separate ways, which is, no big deal. We're very good friends, and we hang out probably once or twice a year. I'll drive down and see her and stuff like that, but I went down to Virginia, like Roanoke, and Roanoke, Virginia is absolutely gorgeous. And I've been to 48 states, or I'm sorry, not 48 states, I apologize. I've been to about 40 different states. And to make a long story short, I'm going to have to do another video on the states that I've been to, but living down south was amazing. Like the Blue Ridge Parkway, down in that area was great. I worked for the government in the city, and it was a great job, and I loved what I did. Great people, a lot of untouched property down there. A lot of if you get into the Monongahela, I had an Enduro, so I rode all over the place, did some door dashing during COVID, during the pandemic. I would ride all over the place, and it was great. I had a Honda, it was not really an Enduro, but a Honda Super Cub, and I decked it out for off-roading, put better dirt bike springs in it, and put off-road tires on it, and I would just drive it all over the place. Simple 125 cc's, and I just bobbed through the woods wherever I was. And it was great. I mean, I rode it probably 10 months out of the year. It was a great experience. Very simple build, the Honda Super Cub. The most popular motorized vehicle ever built, I think. Definitely the most popular motorcycle ever built. But yeah, it was great. I got into Monongahela, the George Washington Jefferson. There's a lot of beautiful areas there. And I've been all over the United States. I've been to 38 states. That's where I was going with that. And I just got back from California. You probably saw my other video, or a couple of videos where I was in California. I still got to talk about my trip back from California because there was an incident in Las Vegas. But when I go out to Yosemite, it wasn't really what I was expecting. It was very loud and tons of people. I mean, just litter all over the place. Just like when I went into the Cascade Mountains, I was just surprised, and that's why I'm always like in my videos that, please pack in, pack out, be respectful of Mother Nature. Virginia and West Virginia don't have a lot of that. There are places you can go that people haven't set foot in many years. It's very sparsely populated, if that makes sense. Whereas in like California and along the western side of the United States, not hating on anybody, of course, but it's very densely populated throughout some of that, not all. There's some very beautiful spots. I've actually driven down the West Coast a couple times. So yeah, and again, I'm not knocking it, but it just a couple of the more popular places that I've been to, there's a lot of litter and just things that I saw where I was kind of like, really? I remember I was in Yellowstone and these people were like running up to buffalo, or they'd be running up to a bear, and I'm like, I grew up on a farm. You leave that stuff alone. Just slowly back away. Like don't try to take a picture of it or anything like that. But people are interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of very beautiful virgin untouched territory out in West Virginia and out in the western part of Virginia. Absolutely gorgeous, areas around there. And probably one of my favorite spots in the United States, if not the world, because I've been around the world a couple of times, during, my master's degree, I actually went overseas, and I stayed overseas for about half a year, and it was great experience. Got to see some of the Olympics, but I saw some amazing things over there, but there's so much beauty in just your backyard. I have a friend, he travels all over the world, and I'm getting way off topic. I warned you I was going to go off on a tangent. I have a friend who's seen the world. He works for the military, and he goes all over the place, and he has gone all over the United States, and he tells me all the time, the United States has more to offer. You get into some of these places that not a lot of people are, and there's so much beauty in the United States. So just one of those things, don't hit up all the touristy hot spots, So, let's see. I moved back up to New York after the pandemic for a job opportunity. And it was a great opportunity. I was subcontracted by the federal government for a while. I was planning on moving back south, and I really wanted to move back to Virginia, but it just didn't work out with me and the girlfriend at the time. So, and right after we broke up, I found my best friend had passed away, and that was real, kind of hard to take in. There was some just PTSD or whatever you want to call it from finding him. That was very stressful, and that's where this community and these videos start to really help, is just the positive, awesome collaboration between everybody, and the feedback that I get from you guys is great. I appreciate it so much. So working on the van kind of gets my mind off of everything, which has been very beneficial, going out and camping and all that jazz. I will be getting another motorcycle here soon and making some videos about that. Let me see here. Sorry I haven't made too much about cooking. I probably won't at this point. I won't make many more videos about cooking, but I'm back teaching, and I enjoy teaching. I really enjoy it. I'm getting around, doing some traveling and stuff here and there. I already own property, and I'll probably shoot a video of some of my property. It's just basically a campsite, 3.5 acres. But it's absolutely gorgeous. It's got some beautiful trees on it. I've got trees, and I kid you not, they're probably 3 feet across. And that's nothing compared to like the giant redwoods and stuff that I was shooting videos of for you guys. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. that's just a little bit about me. And if there's any questions, like I said, only positive vibes though. I'll try to shoot some more videos for you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe. Smash that like button. Thank you.